Since I teach a course on Catholic mindfulness, I sometimes get the question, is it okay to practice mindfulness as a Catholic? And how does it relate to our tradition of Catholic mystical spirituality that we already have in the church? These are great questions, and I want to clear that up. First, let's look at the difference between Buddhism and Catholicism. Mindfulness is a word that gets thrown around a lot these days, and it can be confusing because it seems to be connected to Buddhist philosophy. And actually, it is found in Buddhist philosophy, so it's really important to understand the difference between Catholic mindfulness and Buddhist mindfulness. First of all, we believe as Catholics that Jesus Christ is God. God revealed himself to us in the person of Jesus Christ. In that, he also revealed to us a certain mystery, the mystery of the Trinity. Okay, the Trinity mystery is that God is both three and one. There is a multiplicity of persons in God, the three, the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, and there is a unity in God, that God is one. And this mystery is reflected in all of creation. Let's look at humanity, for instance. Human beings also have a sense of unity. We are all a human family. There's something that unites us all together. And in fact, God willing, we all end up in heaven. That's called the communion of saints. So there's a unity there that we're looking forward to amongst all of humanity. At the same time, we believe that each of us are distinct, individual, uniquely created beings. Each one of us are really separate individuals. This is very different from what the Buddhists believe about created reality and reality as they experience it. Where we allow for this mystery of the Trinity, both the three and the one, Buddhism doesn't allow for there to be a mystery. The way that they make up for that experience of unity and multiplicity is they simply call multiplicity an illusion. The path to enlightenment for a Buddhist is to fully and finally understand and experience and feel and sense only the unity of all being, and to disregard or leave behind as illusion the multiplicity of being. And so when it comes to the experience of the very self, a Buddhist will say that that's an illusion. The self does not exist. And at the same time, they would also say God does not exist, because that would be something distinct from you. And there are no distinctions in Buddhist philosophy. Obviously, we don't believe that. This is very different from a Christian worldview and from our theology, our philosophy, the way that we think as Christians. So those are the two systems, the Buddhist and the Catholic system of thought. Now let's look at mindfulness. Mindfulness is a step on the path to enlightenment for a Buddhist. Mindfulness can also be practiced as a Catholic. How can that be? Well, let's look at what it is. Mindfulness is simply awareness of the present moment. It's a way of clearing out the cobwebs or the fog or the haze or the running around racing of our minds or the chatter that's going on inside of our brains so that we can really fully be present to what we're experiencing around us. For a Buddhist, that's one step on the way to then understanding that that is an illusion. For a Catholic, that's a step for us on the way to understanding the beauty of God permeating his creation and the presence of God and the presence of our very self in the context of this creation. Is it okay to practice this way? Well, let's look a little bit further. Along the way to enlightenment for a Buddhist is also a step called right speech. That's one of the steps to enlightenment for a Buddhist. What that means is no lying, no detraction, not speaking badly about people, not slandering people. That's part of the Buddhist path to enlightenment. So in itself, that's a wonderful thing to have right speech. We also practice right speech on the way to virtue. And that's something that we have within our Catholic system. So just because it's on the path to enlightenment for a Buddhist doesn't necessarily make it something that's wrong in itself. We can say the same exact thing about mindfulness. Allowing ourselves to learn how to be aware of the present moment it's really a psychological technique or a psychological experience. What you do with it really depends on your worldview, your religious belief, or your philosophy. So if you're a Buddhist, again, that means you're on the path to discovering that everything you're paying attention to is actually an illusion. Or if you're a Christian or a Catholic, you're on your way to having a better sense of yourself, a better sense of God, a better sense of what's real around you. And the more clear you have in a sense of self, the more you will understand the movements of your own heart, deeper than and underneath all the distractions of where your mind is running around to. When it comes to prayer, for a Christian, mindfulness is not prayer. Mindfulness can't be a replacement for prayer. So sitting and simply being aware of your breath is not a kind of prayer. However, it is a way to calm the mind down so that you can enter into prayer without distraction. And this is really important. I don't know about you, but there are many times that I've been sitting in Mass and my mind is going off in some other direction and I am not paying attention to the readings or to the homily. Yes, Father, I'm sorry. There are times that I've not paid attention to the homily. Maybe my gas tank was empty and I was thinking about where to get gas after Mass. It doesn't matter. Whatever our minds do, they're not always plugged in to the present moment. Mindfulness is the thing that helps us tune in to the present moment. And that might simply be to feel the pew that I'm sitting in for a moment, to turn my thoughts away from those distractions back into the present moment, which then opens me up to really receiving the Word, really receiving the homily, really receiving the body and blood of Christ, that I can really drink in with my senses, fully tuned in, fully focused, fully present in that moment. So that's the difference between Catholic mindfulness versus Buddhist mindfulness, and that's also the difference between mindfulness and Catholic prayer. Thanks, and God bless you.